Five Ugandan innovative startups have been selected for the Japan Accelerator Program. This and many more is what I do have for you in regards to the news hour. Let's start off from the 5 Ugandan innovative startups that have been selected for funding by the Japan Accelerator Program. The innovative startups ready to transition to another phase have been selected for funding out of the 12 by the Japan Accelerator Program. More of this report.
While at the Innovation Village, a number of startups including MScan, Loboremus, Uganda, ChapChap Africa, Endiro Direct, Akelo Banker, Patacenter and Easymatter to pitch their business solutions and competed against the 12 startups to emerge winners of the Ninja Accelerator Uganda program. Uchiyama Takayuchi, the chief representative of Japan International Cooperation Agency Uganda office, says the startups are required to showcase aspects of relevance, impact, feasibility, readiness, traction, and innovation. Uchiyama is looking at mainly the business profitability, sustainable business models, possible future growth strategy, and return on investment. For the innovation aspect, they said they are working on the business incorporation of technology to provide solutions and address societal challenges.
Uchiyama Takayuki, the chief representative at the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Uganda office, says that the startups are required to showcase aspects of relevance, impact, feasibility, readiness, traction, and innovation in that aspect. Let's move on to the next one. The World Bank has discontinued publication of the annual Doing Business report over irregularities and change of submitted data for 2018 and 2020. The decision, the World Bank said, was reached after changes were made in submitted data in the 2018 and 2020 reports. More of the details.
The World Bank has discontinued the publication of the annual Doing Business report over irregularities and the change of the submitted data of 2018 and 2020. The decision of the World Bank said is due to the changes that were made in the submitted data of the 2018 and 2020 reports. The changes, the bank said, have been reported internally, forcing a pause in the further publication of reports. The cancellation means that policymakers, governments, investors, among others, will have to look for alternative forums from which they can, for the meantime, source competent data to inform the investment and business decisions. The statement has also noted that more irregularities have been found in the data entered for Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Abidjan, while other for 2020 Doing Business report. In particular, Uganda has been using the report to measure the progress against other East African member states with the view of improving its state of the economy. The reports, which are annual, the World Bank has said previously that were vital in informing the actions of the policymakers, investors, and academia to make informed decisions and allow stakeholders to measure economic and social improvements more accurately. The reports have also been valuable tool for the private sector, civil society, academia, journalists, and other in terms of broadening and understanding of global issues.
The reports have also been a valuable tool for the private sector, civil society, academia, journalists, and others in terms of broadening the understanding of global issues. Let's move on now. Business upgrade in Uganda's digital market has starved key economic sectors. And concerning business upgrade in Uganda digital market, some of the key economic sectors have starved as the result of this digital uptake. Let's have a look at this report. The cost of acquiring essential proper digital gadgets, including that involved in laying of enabling infrastructure, continues to constrain digital uptake, depriving mainly the rural communities the much-needed access to service delivery, which has in many ways remained wanting. In the latest report, Marking Digital Work in Uganda, applying a market systems development approach to build inclusive digital economies, lack of infrastructure, power and connectivity, digital literacy and availability of financial resources are the main factors of low usage of digital solutions in the education sector. However, there are new flexible innovations using green energy, offline capabilities, facilities and strategic partnerships to give underserved communities access to digital services. That, however, must be harnessed, something that is also in line with UNCDF strategy of leaving no one behind in the digital era. The study, supported by the Swedish government, demonstrates how digital tools are the most suited facilities in unlocking the abundant opportunities present in the country's key economic sectors, including agriculture, health, education, and ICT sector itself. Already, the government sees ICT as a strong contributor to its Vision 2040, which will see the country transition into a modern and prosperous country. In the National Development Plan NDP3, ICT is identified as a fulcrum of development, an accelerator, amplifier, and augmenter of change. Though ICT access and usage in Uganda has been growing over the past 7 years, according to the UNCDF report released recently, the country is outpaced by regional peers, particularly Kenya.
As Ugandans are being urged by the different key stakeholders in the economy sector to make sure we tap into the digital spaces. The other thing is quite affecting the economy is in regards to the situation as the UNCDF report released recently that the country is outspaced by regional peers, particularly Kenya and Rwanda, despite the fact that Uganda's been growing, that Uganda's ICT access and usage has been actually growing for the last 7 years. Let's head to the US as the United States economy continues to strengthen despite Delta, according to the Federal Reserve. Now, the US economy continues to strengthen amidst a lower rate because of the Delta variant of COVID, as the US Federal Reserve has stated. More of this report.
The central bank said the jobs market was improving and that currently high rates of inflation remain transitory. It said it may start reducing its emergency support for the economy soon, but did not say when. Half of its policymakers also projected interest rates will need to rise in 2022 from the current rock bottom levels. The US economy has rebounded strongly this year from its pandemic lows, but there are fears Delta will derail the recovery. The country added fewer jobs than expected in August as rising infections hit spending on travel, tourism, and hospitality. Inflation, which measures the increase in the cost of living over time, is running at 5.3%, the highest in nearly 13 years. It comes amid surging consumer demand, rising energy prices, and supply chain-related shortages. Despite this, the Federal Open Market Committee, which sets U.S. monetary policy, said overall indicators of economic activity have continued to strengthen. Inflation is elevated, largely reflecting transitory factors. Overall financial conditions remain accommodative, in part reflecting policy measures to support the economy and the flow of credit to U.S. households and...
And now lastly, Kenyan Parliament has directed the Assets Recovery Agency, ARA, to trace and seize bank accounts and property such as cars, homes and land that was bought using proceeds of irregular procurement of COVID-19 emergency equipment by the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA. More of the details.
The National Assembly's Public Investments Committee, PIC, has recommended ARA recover excess money paid to more than 110 firms that supplied COVID-19 items to KEMSA. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, documented evidence of criminal behavior in the purchase of COVID-19 kits and declared there was irregular expenditure of 7.8 billion Kenyan shillings. Past trends indicate that cash from theft of taxpayer money is splashed on the assets like high-end cars and homes. The Assets Recovery Agency is charged with recovery of assets such as buildings, land, and cash stashed bank accounts that are suspected to be proceeds of crime or money laundering. KEMSA bought the COVID-19 emergency equipment at 6.3 billion Kenyan shillings in a procurement EACC flagged as irregular and recommended charges against some officials. A special audit by Auditor General Nancy Gathungu showed that KEMSA may release a loss of 2.33 billion Kenyan shillings if the products, which were stuck at its warehouses, are sold at the current market price. In a separate report, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority catalogued incidences of alleged inflation of prices for products procured by KEMSA. Paracetamol tablets sold at 40 Kenya shillings per pack were bought for 66.50 shillings during the pandemic, while alcoholic-based hand sanitizers priced at 303 Kenya shillings was purchased at 495 shillings, the report said. Official data shows that the state agencies recovered assets linked to graft worth 12.8 billion Kenyan shillings in the year to June last year, up from 3.8 billion Kenyan shillings in the year to June 2018, reflecting the government's aggressiveness in recovering stolen public.
All right, now that brings us to the end of our news hour. And then we are getting into a break. But when we do return, we are digesting the gospel music industry in Uganda. And I do have the president of the gospel musicians, all the gospel industry here in Uganda, President Lanek. We are going to digest some of the issues in regards to business, and also he's going to tell us more about the businesses that he has and he has ventured into. So just stick around. We have more coming up into our discussions. Keep it SMB.
Smart 24, driving business.